Well, today's session we're going to take a look at pages in the gallery. So if we come over here to the gallery, kind of show you what it will show. You have your lesson activity toolkit, which you're probably very familiar with. When we select this, it gives you the activities and examples and tools that we've kind of gone over in previous sessions. We're going to focus on the pages. So when we select pages, you're going to see these three different types of pages. We have the lesson pages, and what the pages are you'll find some similarities between the activity templates that they have that are interactive, flash-based. These are, some will emulate those, and some are just pages that they've created so that, you know, they have a few things there that you can kind of copy, paste, clone to make basically a full lesson from them. So we're going to go through some of these different pages that are available, show you how you can manipulate them and change them. Then you have the Smart Response pages, and those are if you have smart clickers. These are pages that are already created for you that, you know, that automatically give you multiple choice, true, false questions, and you can kind of go in there and put your own questions in. We're not really focusing on the Smart Response pages because there aren't a lot of people who have the clickers, but you know, if you do have a set of clickers, that's definitely a page you want to take a look at, for they already have pre-created pages. You just need to put in some of your own information. And then the title pages, since these pages are with the mentality of creating a lesson using these pages, they give you a title page here, and it will basically, you know, give you a, you know, the intro with objectives and teacher notes and so on and so forth. So with the lesson pages here, we're going to take a look, and you'll notice that there's a variety of different pages within here. And what we try to do is give you little mini screenshots of all these different, you know, your blank, your category sort. This just gives you a very brief, you know, view of what some of those pages look like. And what we're going to do is kind of go through some of these pages and show you what these pages are, how you can manipulate them to work with your particular curricular area. So when we select any of these pages here, you're going to notice that there's 6 there. Here we have 12, there we have 6, here we have 6, and in most cases when you're taking a look at these pages and you see that 6, it's really just one blank page, but it gives you 6 different colors. In a lot of cases here it's not really prominent, but if we go to category sort, you'll see that we have a blue, a brown, a green, orange. So if you're very particular or you want this lesson to be all blue or green or whatnot, they try to give you, you know, one, you know, of each one that's a blue one and a brown one and an orange one, so you can kind of color coordinate your lessons. So here we're going to take a look at the blank page. So here we have our very first one, we have blank, and it's basically what it is. It's a blank page. But we thought we would take this opportunity here with the blank pages to show you some of the buttons that are available. In a lot of the pages here, you'll see a little bit of a background, and they'll give you a page or a couple different pages that you can tap anywhere on the page and begin typing. So these just work like like a notebook file, a blank white notebook file, but they've added, you know, a page or, you know, something to, you know, jazz it up a little bit rather than just a blank white page. They usually will give you a title up here that you can simply double click on, and you can change that title to whatever you would like. They'll also give you a home button, and what this home button will do is it will automatically link to your very first page. So no matter what your first page is, if you come over here, you know, our very first page is this one. When I click this, it will take me right to that page. If I grab this page down here and I move it all the way to my first page, when I click this, it's still going to go to that first page no matter what it is. Now you also have this little button here, that's your notes button. So if I click it, it's going to open up a little notes area that I can come in here and I can type whatever I would like. And basically it's more or less, you know, information notes. It could be a description of something or telling a teacher what to do, or it could be directions for this particular assignment or whatnot. Selecting this is going to minimize those notes, and clicking it, it's going to expand those notes. So you can come in here and you can, you know, start typing, you know, whatever notes you want, click enter, and then it's going to allow you to put your information in there. The button down here, this is their check button, and with the close procedure where, you know, if you had another item here and you drag that item to this location, it could reveal answers. It's what it's called a closure or close procedure. And that is, you know, just their little thing of checking. So if you wanted to have something where you're going to drag in correct answers or whatnot, this is the little marker that they usually use for that. But it doesn't really do anything. It's just an image right now. So your two functional buttons here are your notes and then your home button. And this is just a blank, it's called blank notes, so it's just a blank page that you can put any type of notes or whatnot. The next one here, we're looking at the category sort. So when we're in here, the next page here is category sort. Once again, we have 6 different colors. And once again, with these pages here, there's not a lot of flash, there's no animation or anything. It's just a page that they've created to hopefully help get you started. So these are editable. So if I double click on this column here, I can say this is maybe column 1. I can change this to column 2. So they've set it up where you just need to go in there and manipulate it to whatever you want it to be. You can't adjust these lines here, so you can move those around. You can come in here and I could actually clone this so that maybe I wanted to have, maybe 4 columns, whatever it may be. So I can take this item here, clone this as well, move this over here, and change this to 4. So you can see I didn't have to create a lot of stuff. It's more or less moving some things around and adding, my own personal information of whatever, I want, and line things up the way that you would like. You have your home button that's going to take you back to the home. You have your notes button that's going to allow you to put any notes. They also here give you a label box, and this is infinitely clone, so it allows you to kind of have the same size box, and I can drag out maybe as many words as I want that is going to fit with my particular activity. And then what I can do is double click in this box and type in whatever information that I want that's specific to my curriculum, and now I have all these things that are already created ready for me to use. And then once I'm finished with this, I could delete this, I could remove that infinite clone, take this off, and now that I have all of my things that are already created, same size, I just had to double click and edit that information. Then students could come in here and move those into the correct location. There's no check button. Once again, there's no flash. When you're going in here to edit, you are actually manually editing these items. And here's your category sort title. Once again, double clicking on that, you can type whatever you would like, and that's going to provide you with your title. So once again, these are just pages, text, and images that are set up for you to manipulate and change to increase your instruction. Very similar to the previous one, but this one's a keyword match. So once again, you have your labels that you can pull out, as many labels or keywords that you're going to have. You have your description here, so they already started for you. I can come in here and I can clone this. I can clone this. So if I have 3 words, now I've cloned that description 3 times, so I know my text is the same size, same color. Come in here, and then here I can type in my definition for this word, definition for this word, and definition for this word. And then the students here, once I change these, can move these around. So you can see the page is it's a little more friendlier to the eye than just taking a white piece of paper, pulling up a blank sheet here and putting your text and your definitions. So they've done a lot of that work for you with the idea of being able to come in here and change the information that you need to work for whatever you might be teaching. Keyword pad. So what this is an idea. Here you have your description, so I can double click on here and I can put any paragraph or whatever I want, and just to kind of give you an idea of what that could look like. Here it's a perfect example, just taking that page, I put my paragraph here, I've changed my title to whatever I want, I can add an image if I would like, and then for this case here, for the keyword, I can pull out, so I can double click on this, and now if my vocabulary words, or having students pull out, when I highlight that word and then I drag it out, it drags that word out, it still leaves that word there. So if this is plants was another keyword here, I can highlight this and I can pull it out, and it's going to put it onto my little notepad here, and it's going to keep this in here. So you could have your paragraph here and students highlighting and pulling information out that's the keywords of whatever you might be studying. They've done all the work, now you just have to put in your information without that, that flash. The next page is called ranking. So they already give you, an image of, what's least important, what's most important. Here, the same situation, they've infinitely cloned it, so I can determine on, how many items the students are going to be looking at. I can double click on here and I can say which one is the least important, most important. So once again, I'm just coming in here and editing that information. I can get rid of this, and now I can put this information up here. I could resize it if I would like, and then the students could drag that information in here to show what was least and most important. Home button, I have my notes. So you can see how by using these pages here, you might be able to use some of these pages where you don't have to spend the time in creating a triangle and using that gradient and putting in your information. Here I can unlock this information here, and since all this information that my text with my triangle is all grouped, so it's one image, I can go in here and I can ungroup these, and now I can change it. If I don't want most important and least important, I want to use different text, I can come in here and I can change this text to whatever I want. And then what I could do here is come back in here using my control button, select those three items again. I can group them. I can lock them. So now that didn't take as long as me going in there, creating a triangle, resizing it. I just took their information, unlocked, ungrouped, changed my information, and went ahead and grouped them and locked them again. So now we have an activity ready to go by, that may not have taken me as long. Here we have the sentence arrange. There is one out there for the activities that this is a flash base, where if a student moves this down, it's going to push this one back up automatically. This is a situation where we're not talking about flash at all, so this allows you to manipulate and change. And once again, double clicking in the text to change my text, but it's going to be students actually grabbing these and moving them into the correct location. But you can also, within here, you can change this up so it's maybe not the typical sentence. If I come in here and I can change this text box to maybe look like this, and then I could maybe make this into a matching game. So you can take some of their information that they already have, and I can rearrange some stuff if I'm a little creative or have a different idea, so that maybe those are the two things that I'm going to be looking at. Get rid of these, and then create some other type of game that we might use boxes rather than our rectangles or our sentences. And that's what really pages are all about. They give you the start, and you kind of use your creativity to change things around, or simply double click and put your information in there. Statement is very similar to like the question one, where they just give you a title and space. But once again, we can, if you have a vocabulary word and definitions, or you have a specific statement, and then they have to come up here, or you have a question where they have to come in here and write a certain, formula that maybe you couldn't just type in, that would be a situation for something like this. And here's just an example of what they do. Read the definition of a noun below, and then this is where it's the typical statement. But really, this concept could be used for anything. I mean, whatever you want to put up here and whatever you want to have down here, it could be a statement, could be your question and your answers, whatnot. Here they have important points. So we have the label here, so we can drag out as many labels as we want, and then using these labels here, we can use the dart to tell me how close I was to my target or whatnot. With this one, it's a little different. If I want to change the label here, since they have a couple items grouped, what I need to do is I need to ungroup them first. Now I can double click in here and I can type my information. Then I can regroup them. And that's how you're going to go in there and edit your information. So now with this group, now I can use my own text to determine on how close this answer is to my target. So same concept, just a different way to do it, and you don't have to take the time in creating a target yourself, or an item like this where you're taking the dart, the rectangle, and putting your text in there and changing the color of that particular box. They've done that for you. Venn diagram, once again, I can come in here, I can change this information. You have the labels that you can pull out as many as that you need. You have your title that you can change. And I believe within the Venn diagram, if you take a look, I think they have a couple different choices regarding the Venn diagram. here. So you can see I have 4 and I have 3. So you have some variances as far as the number of groups that you're looking at. And once again, they give you the colors of 2, 3, and 4 green, 2, 3, and 4 orange, 2, 3, and 4 purple, so on and so forth. And when you're looking at title pages, you have 2 different types of title pages. You have just your title page, and you have your title pages linked. Okay, so to see what the difference is between the two, you'll notice here that's showing that it's got some flash built in, and this one is this first title page. What the title page does is it has these tabs down here, so you have the title of your lesson that you can edit, and then you have your objectives that you can type in here. You have your teacher's notes, so each of these tabs will open up a new page within this page. So any teacher notes that I want to put in here, all this you can edit, and any lesson notes that I may need to record, or if I'm going to send this to another teacher of mine, by having this information there might give them a heads up as far as what materials maybe that we may need, or what things to look out for if there's a certain area in the lesson that didn't work out very well, or whatnot. So you have this title page that you could put at the very beginning, and once again with any of these pages here, if you click this home tab, it's going to take you back to if you had this as your home, your very first page, that they can come back in here and refer back to whatever information that might be pertinent to your lesson. The next one here, this blue title pages linked, all these linked home pages are going to look like, let's do a new one here. When I pull this in, now you'll see I still have my 2 tabs, but instead of the tabs jumping, and it looks like the page didn't change, but actually this is a link. So if I look at my pages here, now I dragged this page in, but it's also created a second page, and it's also created this link that's going to link to that second page. So when I click this, it's actually changing pages. So very similar to this one where you had these tabs, this doesn't take up any additional pages, but it will take up a little more space because of its flash, whereas these are going to be just 2 text-based pages that I click on this and it takes me to the next page. So those are really the 2 differences between this one where it's all built in, this one where it's just simply they've made 2 pages and then they've created this link to take you to the next page, and then this link takes you back to the objectives page.